I think I'm going to start with a body scan.
Okay.
I'm going to go from there, see how it feels, see what information comes in when I do that, and take it from there.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Let you and your energy dictate where it goes.
Okay.
Okay. I feel like it'd be helpful if you've grounded as well.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
just walk you through what I'm doing, and we can just do it together, and
Okay.
then kind of start from there. So imagine white beam of source light coming in through your head, and then filtering, percolating, moving gently down your body, down, down, and then you get to your feet. Imagine that light reaching out around the earth and through the earth and dancing with the earth's energy. And then the earth's energy wraps up this beam of light, moves up into you and around you, connecting you to the earth. And from here, let's see, from here, we're going to imagine a big ball of golden light around you. And this is, so, yeah, that's what it needs to be. So just picture this golden light around you, and that's just going to protect your energy during the session and keep it contained and safe and kind of like bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll do a little more at the end just to finish it off, but that's good for right now. Okay. Oh, your throat feels red hot. Wow. Let me see. It feels like the inside is trying to scream out and it's being like stifled.
Okay.
Like it just feels like there's so much wanting to come out through the throat, and it feels like it's narrow and for how much wants to come out, and it's creating friction, which is creating the heat. That's what kind of feels like to me.
Okay.
Like there's just so much force wanting to come out. And what's coming to mind is a way to help widen this energy. Is specifically for you to visualize. Yeah, just imagine this thin throat expanding, and talking or singing, making noise at the same time. It's just to widen it enough to let everything come out naturally on its own. It could be just like a 1 minute little exercise every morning. Just envision this energy that wants to come up, like right from the heart. It's wanting to come up and just expanding the space and making some type of noise at the same time to encourage it. That's all it really kind of needs. It just needs an escape. Like letting the bottle cap off. Yeah, it just feels like heartburn to me. It feels like going to, what is this? It feels like excitement as well. Like it feels like there's all this excitement within you that wants to be expressed, but there's like those doubts and those it feels like you're restricting yourself or holding yourself back, or there's things around you that you think there's outside influences that are keeping you contained, but it's really just you allowing those things to keep you contained more so than actual things that will contain you. You're allowing them to contain you.
Okay.
See, what does this have to do with? It feels like that's really tied to safety. It feels like it's down by your root. It feels like you're holding those in place to keep you safe, to keep you, yeah, keep you in a place where you are, you know is comfortable, that you know is safe. There's a lot of uncertainty in expansion and being fully open and being fully everything that wants to come up. But yeah, there's just unease around that. Let me see. It feels like can of worms, opening up a can of worms. Once you open it, you can't put it back in. So there's just that, like, and being aware that once you open it, you can't put it back in. It's like, do I want to open it? I don't know. I don't know if I want to open it. And that's just kind of like this, like, teeter totter, like, oh, like, and it's that inner struggle within you. It's just like this way, that way, this way, that way, and they're kind of battling it out. That's what kind of feels like. Let's see. And I feel like knowing how to put in certain boundaries and knowing how to control certain things and having all these parameters is going to bring that safety into it so that you can allow yourself to explore and expand within a parameter. And once that feels safe, you can expand the parameters and you can grow that way instead of just being, wow, that feels unsafe in your energy. But giving like certain structures, I get like a full yes. Like that feels really good for me in my body for you. Let's see what parameters would be good. And this feels specifically about like mediumship, about connecting with energies and spirits and stuff that's outside of you. Having certain parameters in place and really enforcing those boundaries so that your energy feels safe. Let me see what parameters. Specifically, ones that are popping into mind are like working hours, having a certain set of time that you are allowing yourself to communicate or being open to communication and not just being completely open all the time is going to be super important.
Okay.
Having energetic protection in different forms. So like a daily one, and then one that you're specifically using when you're trying to connect to something. And that's like it's protection, but it's also an on switch. It's something specific, a certain ritual that's your on switch, and then you have a specific off switch. So you have control over when you're on, when you're off. And then also within that, what times or days, whatever you choose, you are allowing yourself to be open. Because the thought of just anything coming in at any time, it feels dysregulating. It feels like, oh, what's this? Oh, what's this? And just like being on edge. It doesn't feel very calm, relaxing, and just like supportive. Let me see, what else would be helpful? Let's see. Those are the main things.
Okay.
Having a specific object when you are turning on, turning off, or in working hours can be helpful to have this physical manifestation of your working hours. So having either a candle or a crystal or some sort of object with you, holding it or right around you so that you have that on off switch. But I would have a caveat of having maybe a few things that you rotate between, just so that from experience, if you rely on one thing, you might be like, oh, I can't have this today. No, I can't do it. I'm freaking out. Like you might get dependent upon it, but you rotate, then you have the confidence of many things can do this for me. And it's my intention of I am working now. This is meanings I'm working. So picking a few things would be good. But it's that connection ritual and that disconnection ritual that are the most important. I just feel like to bring that physical embodiment is going to be, it cements that safety. Let me see, would my connection and my disconnection rituals work? Yes. Let's see, what is there? And I feel like this is very, you can change them. It doesn't, anybody, you can try a bunch of different things, see what works for you, try different hats on. What I do when I connect, I do what we did before, where you have source light come in, I connect with the earth, I let the earth surround me. So I have both the earth and source energy flowing within me. And then I ask my higher self to step forward so that I'm in the purest connection with my higher self as possible. And I ask my spirit team to surround me, shine their love on me, help guide me to bring information that needs to come through, and protect my energy, keep me safe. And from there, I put this grid around me that, again, and keeps my energy safe, allows only what's for highest good for both of us to come through, because it's not just what's best for the client, it's also what's best for you.
Okay.
So if something comes through that might hurt you, you don't want that. This is like, it's a give and take. It's communication between everybody. It's beneficial for everybody. So having that intention helps you feel safe, because you know that the stuff coming through is also safe for you. And then from there, you can go on and ask for whatever connections that you want, but having that source and then the higher self, I always find it raises me up. It makes it easier to connect.
Okay.
Just my picking up the telephone off the wall instead of trying to yell at the phone, being like, hey, I want to call this number. It's like, no, you have to actually pick it up. You have to dial the number. And that's my connection introduction. And then I start to explore.
Okay.
And then to disconnect, it's really simple. I just put a bubble around the client, or picture it, a bubble around me, and then I drift away and then cut the cords between us. And the intention is each of us can feel our own energy now, and we're moving apart. And if you find yourself thinking about the client or the other person or the spirit afterwards, like too much, not just, wow, this was so awesome, I loved this, but like it just keeps popping in your head, you do another bubble and you disconnect.
Okay.
Because it's sometimes when you haven't had this established boundaries, they get tested a lot. You need to be firm, where it's like, no, I'm done this. Bubble, bubble, separate, cut. We're going off on our own way. So it's just like a little kid where you're just like, nope, we're doing this. Okay, see ya. Like, it doesn't have to be cruel or mean unless you want it to be. But you just do that little bubble.
Yep.
Okay, let me see that. And what else? Let me see. I feel like part of your knees issues, it kind of feels like twisting. It feels like being pulled, or what's the right word? But like being torn between two different, I don't say realities, but like the spiritual side, the physical side. It's like they're not fully meshing up. And it's just kind of like that. It just kind of gave way. So doing more practices that bring that spiritual side into the physical, or inviting more of that spiritual into the physical. Like what's popping into my head is talking to your water, like putting blessings into your water, things that you want. You're like, you talk to your water, you're like, you're so amazing. I love you. You drink it. Anything. You could be like, oh man, like or you could say thank you, water. You could do anything you want, but like saying something nice
Yeah.
about yourself specifically would be really good, because then you're drinking it and then you're going to feel good about yourself.
Okay.
You can do Reiki to your water, Reiki to your foods. Um, Same type of thing where you're just bringing that extra spiritualness to your everyday things to kind of ground it and root it into the physical. Just like you're doing the dishes and visualizing. You could just practice your visualization skills. You could just be like practicing visualizing an apple. You could practice remembering a memory, or thinking about a book you're reading and visualizing the scene. Like practicing these skills that are really needed for communicating outside of the physical body in everyday little things. Just, just adding these little pieces helps cement them into reality, and it really combines them. Let me see, what else? Oh, doing lots of things like breath work when you're walking, or like intentionally breathing, intentionally feeling your heartbeat as you're walking and moving, and kind of pulling those pieces together would also be helpful. Let me see, anything specific for healing the knee? I'm being drawn to the ankles. So it seems pretty practical, like pretty like standard, but having the right kind of shoes, yeah, like is really important for this. Um it feels like your ankles are similar to my ankles, where uh they might move a little bit too much, or just like it's just
Like just walking and like, boop. You're like, oh,
yeah, like I'm just like what I'm
yeah.
hypermobile, so I'm just like you feel kind of bendy.
Yep.
So it's very much like you have being really aware of those little things and accommodate yourself accordingly, because you're putting those the thought and the effort into those little things that just make your life better. Like you deserve to have the right kind of shoes that are going to be supportive of you.
Mhm.
Putting all those little things where it's like maybe those spiritual concepts into the physical, like the, all those things where it's like you ask for help, you ask for support, but are you supporting and helping yourself? But are you supporting and helping yourself physically by, are you taking the shortcuts and doing the easy way or the cheap way or the things that are just faster? Or are you doing the things that are actually going to help you in the long run? Because I feel like you know all the things that are going to help you, but are you taking the time to do them?
Mhm.
So putting more effort into those, or time, putting more importance on yourself is really, really important, because it feels like that's going to keep slowing you down until you put in the effort to help it speed up. So it feels like it's slow, like you're going to be slow either way, whether you take the time to do it properly in quotes, or if you're going to actually like have your body slow you down.
Mhm.
Are you choosing to do it, or are you being forced to do it?
Okay.
So maybe that little switch shift will make you want to do it. I know I I'm very similar too, where it's like, oh, I don't have time.
Right.
Time. And then it's like, oh no, I'm hobbling.
Yeah.
Yes. So I
Do it later. Do it later.
like
Mhm.
more important things to do, or I'm in a hurry. So I completely get it. But having those little reminders, maybe like on your phone or something, to make you take the time. Um, let me see. Oh, and just like if you're standing, making sure you have like cushion pads on the floor,
Okay. Yeah.
something like that. Well, either really cushiony shoes, or a cushiony floor, like something like kind of foamy.
Okay.
I feel like that's something that could be really helpful. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, because my feet are sore all the time. So there you go.
Okay, let's see. I feel like focusing on like the mediumship or the things that you're capable of doing or things that you can do for your growth that way. Um, when you're doing Reiki on people, do you normally follow a set path of positions, or do you just let your hands go where they need to go? How do you navigate doing Reiki?
I usually do a set path.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you're doing that, do you ever feel, do you kind of go on autopilot and just do that? Or do you ever like kind of feel your body wanting to do something different and you just go back to the set path? Or is it always just like set path, don't think about it, just do it?
A set path, if I do notice something, like um stay longer here or jump over there, focus more on this, like I will try to listen to that, and then I go back onto my path once I feel that it's, yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Uh, I'm going to encourage you to try to do so really shaking that up. So maybe do things that will make you a little nervous, like maybe doing it backwards. And you're like, oh my gosh, no. Or starting in the middle and just like throwing it out there where it's like, this is wrong, but wrong in quotation marks because
Yeah.
you're taught. Um, just starting and you'll get to all the places that you need to get to, but it's just in a different order.
Different routine.
Yeah, and just changing the routine so that you get more fluid and then you're more open to all these little nuanced things happening and you're not thrown off guard being like, oh, I can't do that because it's not the right time. And because that is really, really important when like doing mediumship and doing any sort of connection to anything else because you don't have control over any of it. It's
Hmm.
just like, oh, I hear this, I got this thought, and you're just like, it's just happening. There's no like set rhyme or reason other than you can start it and you can end it.
Okay.
You have your
Yeah.
parameters of that box that they're allowed to communicate or do anything in, but within that box, it's who knows? Like, because everybody, everything, every soul, all energies communicate different ways, and it is what it is. Um, so practicing these little things that will help just break out of routine. Um,
Okay.
I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest things because once you allow yourself to be out of the routine and just kind of flow, I feel like that's when those little thoughts, those little images, those little feelings, those nudges, those inklings happen more and more and more. And then when you listen to them, you're like, oh, and then you do it, and then spirit and everything's like, oh, she's listening. Give her more. She's listening. Give her more. And it
Okay.
will just trickle and just expand out. And that's really the starting point. Because I feel like when you are connected with Reiki, with energy healing, it's easier to connect to those other realms. And using that as your anchor point,
Mhm.
as your like little connection, is going to be a really easier way to start. Um,
Okay.
and yes, let me see what else. Um, and I feel like having those parameters is also um, a good way for you to be able to distinguish between, let's say, uh, an actual connection and maybe something more closer to a psychosis or something that's more of a mental health issue. You can distinguish because you have your start and stop, and it's only happening in your start.
Okay, that
So
makes
that
sense.
your clear line of like, well, it's not happening all the time.
Hmm.
So you have those clear boundaries. And that's going to help bring that safety net in and make you feel more supported. Um, and grounding is extremely important through the whole process because that's what we're in our physical bodies. We're not just floating up here all the time. We need to be physical. Let me see. What else? Making sure to really, even on, like when you're with any of your clients or any service, having a disconnection or some type of cleansing afterwards is really important. Because otherwise, the space that you're using just collects all this energy. And then it can be not good for your health, and it could be not good for other people that are coming in, because they could be collecting, if they're like really sensitive, which a lot of us who like this stuff are, we can collect stuff. So doing just that bubble is enough. But doing, let me see, what, like doing Reiki on your space, or envisioning like white light completely surrounding and like flooding the whole space is going to be good for clearing anything that's in there. Doing that on a semi-regular basis. Let me see how often. Like once a week would be good.
Okay.
If you're doing the whole bubble disconnection thing, do that white light clearing once a week. But let's say if you forget the bubble, or right now, if you're just starting, do the white light to kind of clear it. Really helpful. And of course,
I do try to smudge like before and after. I try to remember to smudge and stuff like that too. So yeah.
Awesome. And I would say also, just in the future, if you notice that, let's say you're laying in bed and you're like, oh, the energy in the house or the space doesn't feel quite right, you could just visualize quickly that white light to kind of clear it in case anything got missed. It's something that you could do without getting out of bed. Let me see. Because I know when you have it in your home, it opens another can of worms because you're sharing the spaces.
Yeah.
Let me see. What else? Have any questions popped up that you want to ask?
No, not that I can remember.
Okay, let's see. What? And I feel like more so connecting to spirit team members than actual mediumship.
Okay.
I feel like that is something that's more, that feels better for your energy. It feels like something that would be easier for you, something that would just flow better.
Okay.
And that's not necessarily something that's going to be like forever and always, but as of right now, in the next little bit, that seems like a better fit, or it just works better with your energy.
Okay.
Let me see. What? And do you have a practice that you do to connect with your spirit team personally?
Like not an everyday practice, just a little bit like when I go to do like Reiki, or if I'm smudging, I have a little thing, but I do pull my own cards, and I did do a bit of a practice, but now I just kind of pull them. Yeah.
So just encouraging you to keep doing that, because it's more challenging to connect to other people's when you don't connect to your own, yada yada. And but if you include them into your grounding and protection as you're doing sessions, it kind of builds that relationship and that strength between them and you. So that's also part of the practice. So
Okay.
it can be included. Let me see. And what is it? And I feel like you're more like, your strongest clair would be like feeling.
Okay.
And so taking the time to listen to your body. So I feel like uh, doing a body scan of how your body feels before you do a session with a client, and just notice, it's like, oh, my shoulders tense. How does each part of my body feel? just getting a check-in, a baseline, so that when you are in that session, if you notice that your body is like, oh, I have this pain in my shoulder, or oh, I'm tight here, or I have tingles over here. It's easier to notice those subtle little changes when you already have what your body normally feels like or what it felt like just before. And then
Okay.
it's easier to listen. And especially, and I would also recommend, as you're getting used to that, doing little check-ins like during, you're like, oh, you're doing your normal thing, and then you're like, oh, how does my body feel? And just do a quick little scan to see how it feels. And it's like, does it feel compared to what it was before? And then you can start asking yourself questions of, is this because of the client? Is this because of me? Is it because of outside energy? And just start asking questions and being curious.
Okay.
The more curious you are, the more will come in. It, things tend not to just smack you in the face.
Why not?
Yeah, sometimes they do. And what happens where it's like, okay, you have this big message, or oh, this is happening. But majority of the time, you ask questions and then you'll get an answer. So listening to your body, where you could say, oh, I'm feeling more tense, or I have this like aching in my shoulder. Is this because of my client? And then giving it a moment to see how your body responds to that question.
Yeah.
If it's, for me personally, a no, it feels kind of like someone's grabbing me and I'm like, ugh. And a yes feels tingly.
Okay.
So you can practice by asking yourself yes and no questions that you know the answers to, and see how your body responds. You could do sway testing. Have you ever done sway testing before?
Uh, like when you ask a question and if you notice you start going front
Forward
or
or
side.
backwards?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So that's another thing. If you respond well to sway testing, using that as well. So, and then, but also paying attention to how your body feels and where in your body might feel that yes or no, and
Okay.
getting used to that sensation without swaying.
I think that one is actually probably a good one for me because I find that when I am doing, I do sway, but I just never like I feel it and I'm like ooh, but I didn't like I'm not doing anything, but probably incorporate that into that now. It'll make sense now.
Exactly. And anytime you're not like, I don't know what this is, I don't know
Yeah.
what this means, ask.
Okay.
Say, you could ask, what does this mean? Maybe you'll get an answer, maybe you don't, because sometimes it might be lots of layers or lots of things, or maybe the communication link uh, isn't quite clear. So
Mhm.
asking yes and no questions is wonderful.
Okay.
So as many questions as you can think of until you get some type of answer. And no answer is an answer,
Okay.
because that's also like, you're not supposed to know, they're not supposed to know, or that's a bad question.
Mm,
So,
I
and
gotcha.
yeah, you won't know until you've asked a lot of questions
Mhm.
to know. It's like, if everything is just no answer, you're like, well, I guess we're not supposed to know, because
Mhm.
mysteries and free will and the plan and all that junk, um we just can't know everything.
Yeah.
But yes, so tons of questions, always be curious. That's like the best way to navigate anything is curiosity,
Mhm.
because it's just so they tend to be quiet.
Mhm.
So just be like, oh, what does that mean? What does this mean? But it's super important, makes it so much easier. And then when you listen to your body, because you're swaying, you're moving, it's going to be so much easier to like put those pieces together. Because I feel like a lot of this is in your body. Like, so that practice alone helps you connect to your physical body, which helps like heal your physical. So I feel like the problems with your physical are because there's that disconnect. So this all kind of works together into healing your body. We're just like merging those two worlds into one. My throat keeps doing that. Get that bottleneck up. Oh, I feel like singing would be so great for you.
Really?
Like belt it out, even if like just like make lots of noise. Just give her. I think that'd be great. Let's see. What else? What else would be really good for you? Um, and like the limit is super generic. Like we're all limitless. Like sometimes the questions you ask are important because you get these super generic answers sometimes just like that. Like we're all limitless. Like, yeah, I know we're souls that are limitless. Um, but the only thing that's limiting you is your safety.
Mm.
So if you don't feel safe doing something, it's not going to happen.
Mhm.
If you get scared of something, it's not going to happen. So you have to be, so if there's something that you are scared of, you need to work on why you're scared
Okay.
or be okay with that not happening.
Okay.
So just like the first time I saw ghosts, I was like, I don't want to see this. I don't want, I'm like, Grandma, go away. I'm scared. I know you don't want to scare me, but no. And then now I've never seen a ghost in my physical since because I
Yeah.
started scared. So I
Mm-hmm.
only see it in my mind's eye, or I've seen a couple angels. And then I was like, oh, I could see more of those, but it's only happened a few times.
Well,
Um,
that's cool.
but but like yeah, like when you set those things when you are scared of something, there's usually reasons behind it. And if you can't see it, like when I actually think about seeing a ghost all the time, yeah, I don't think I want that. I think that
Mm-hmm.
would make me scared. And my body knows I'm scared. So even if I say, I want this, my body knows.
Like no.
Oh, I'm not, I'm not actually okay with that. So it's not going to happen. So yeah, either being okay with it or working on why you're scared. Let's see. Oh. I feel like working from your home is it feels better than working at somebody else's place right now. And for a while, actually, it feels a lot better. It feels like you can accommodate yourself and your limitations and listening to your body when you work at home more so than if you're renting a space from somebody else. And it's really important to listen to your body. I feel like if you don't already, getting like a high rolly stool or something that you can like kind of perch on and move around is going to be better than just standing.
Yeah. Okay.
Giving yourself all these options to sit and move in different ways depending on how your body's feeling. So you're not pushing yourself.
Okay.
And like really taking the importance of accommodating yourself, like it's really important.
I definitely felt like a load of stress disappeared over the Christmas holidays by moving back into the house. Like I felt at first I was like, oh, it's like a step backwards because I started and then I moved out and I was doing so good and I feel like I'm backwards. But once I got it all set up and I'm like, no, it's set up how I want it. It's my colors, it's my energies. I'm not mixing it in with everybody else. So then I felt much better about it. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. There's nothing bad about working in your own home.
Hmm. Right.
Then you don't have to contend with the energy of the space as well.
Mm.
You know, like they're coming in and they're just feeling all you.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to have it be like, yeah, when someone comes in, they're really being bathed in your energy. Bathed, bath. Oh my goodness. I'm just like, me words, no work. Okay, let's see. What else?
So I do have one question. Like, so with my full-time job, I'm very stagnant with it as well. I don't want to leave because it's pretty easy work for pretty good money. But at the same time, it's like I'm not using my full potential at all at this job. But I'm like, is it something I should continue on doing and maybe try to wither my way into something else in the company or a different position, or should I maybe think about not jumping ship, but going somewhere? Because like I know I'm appreciated. I know everybody think like it's hardworking, but it's just I'm not utilizing my skill set really that much.
it really is, it's equal. It almost feels like staying doesn't feel horrible, but going doesn't feel horrible. And both would be it kind of feels kind of lateral. They both, like, one doesn't seem amazingly better. Um, I want to say not using all not using all your potential. Do you mean that does it not take your potential, or doesn't like fully engage you, but does it give you you said it's really easy, so it doesn't
Yeah.
drain you, or does
Yeah.
it drain you?
Like I'm not stressed
Yeah,
really at all with my job. I know where the previous job I left from, I was a big ball of stress. So I'm like, I should be thankful that I'm not stressed. But
I would say because it doesn't drain you, it gives you energy and space for the energy, for all the other stuff. If
yeah.
something was really pulling all your energy, taking all your energy, it would be hard to continue to give to other people. So it feels like um, it's not exciting. It's not something that like lights you up. You're not like really engaged and fully in it, but it's not pulling away. And I feel like you could move and be more engaged and be more utilized, but I feel like it would also pull away from the other side.
Okay. Makes sense.
So I feel like maybe the daytime work would be more fulfilling, but then you wouldn't have the space and the energy to do like all your other business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's your choice. You can choose. Uh,
That makes sense. That's good.
it's not clear cut. It's not
Yeah.
full yes, full no.
Yeah.
But maybe it'll be easier to do a more stress-free, more mundane job if you know it's saving your energy.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
You see, what are some things you could do to maybe make that more fun or more engaging, more do you have to interact with clients or something? No, less.
No, and I don't really interact with anyone. So, because I'm an estimator, at my last job, I was like reaching out to suppliers and reaching out to the salespeople, and always like not just giving a number or putting things into a spreadsheet. I was all that. Here, it's like I reach out to another team member in a different department, like, hey, I need costs for this. They go out to the suppliers. They talk to the clients. Where I'm like, I just get the information, put it in a spreadsheet, and I'm like done. So yeah.
So
And I
do
think
you,
that's maybe what I'm missing. I'm missing that interactiveness. Yeah.
I feel like things you could do, like, do you listen to music when you're working?
No, I sit in silence.
Yeah. I
I
feel,
should listen to music.
yeah, listening to music, especially music that makes you feel good,
Okay.
or to listen to music that makes you feel bad. I don't know. Doesn't make
Just
sense to
crying.
me. No, like, uh, it's like time and a place.
Right.
But really, like, I feel like that would really help in creating this space that is more soul fulfilling. Like maybe candles would be great. Maybe doing a smudge before work and
Yeah.
after work, making it more of this like this ritual type thing. Um, and like I think like, music was the first thing that came up. I was like, that's would be really good.
Okay.
Let me see what else would be helpful. That's the biggest thing. And like movement breaks, like doing like and the dancing to the songs,
Mhm.
it's just gonna flow with that, and I feel like that would be good too. Um, and
Definitely known to dance around my house a lot. So
and being very mindful of like you probably already do this, but like making sure your chair and everything is ergonomic. You have little stools if you need it, yada yada. Like making sure your body is comfortable. Um, it's super important. But let me see what else would be help make the day job more fulfilling or easier or helpful or engaging. Okay, so maybe a little weird, I don't know. But doing some type of breath work. I feel like really like connecting with your breath when you're working, or having certain intervals or certain times of the day. And while you're doing, you can be doing it while you're doing spreadsheets, but doing some sort of breath practice. Let me see what, and nothing too intense. You don't need to be doing like dragon breath or anything like that, but doing mindful breath.
Okay.
I just feel like that's just going to incorporate a lot of the stuff. And, and it's going to make the work, even though it's not exciting, it feels like it feels more connected. It feels
Okay.
like you are doing two birds with one stone. It feels
Okay.
like you're doing multiple things at once, so therefore it doesn't necessarily feel like wasting time. Or
Yeah.
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 Like and it could just be like, yeah, simple things like that, or even just putting on some sort of like sound bowl music or something, just to like helps your body regulate and be relaxed and calm and do the healing it needs to do, but also those parts of your brain you're like, oh, I could be giving so much more. It's like, this is a take time.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, smart. Okay.
mhm. And I'm gonna say like, maybe for me this is a no-brainer, but having like crystals and stuff around, uh also
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, I got rid of them all when I was cleaning, and I never put them back, so I should do that.
Like all my crystals by my computer, I'm like, my precious.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I took a whole bunch to my work because I work 4 days out of the month in the office. So there's some sitting there, but I'm like, I'm not doing any good when I'm here.
See what else would be helpful for you. When you're connecting to a spirit team, uh, so you do your little connection process, and then have, instead of having the intention that anybody comes and communicates with you, try to pick one. You know, like
Okay.
my main spirit guide, my first spirit guide. If you don't know the names, if you don't have each one already um, introduced in your mind, you can start with my original spirit guide and ask questions and ask for certain feelings in your body, ask to give any images or thoughts or memories or sensations, and just ask for anything and everything you can think of. And saying you're open to any sort of messages or any sort of communication. It's more communication than messages, because you don't have to make sense of the messages. You just need to acknowledge what's happening. You're like, I have no idea why a burrito popped in my brain, but I'm acknowledging that I thought of a burrito. And does it matter if it was given from my spirit team or if my mind is just like making it up? No, not for this purpose, not for this practice. We just need to acknowledge what's popping into our minds.
Okay.
And that will eventually build upon itself and start to make sense and build trust. So usually when I'm communicating with anything, especially like a soul that's passed on, it starts out really quiet and very like strange. It's like, I'm thinking of a bar of soap. Don't know why. I can't move on. I can't get more information until I acknowledge that I saw or thought of a bar of soap. And then from there, something else might come in. You're like, oh, okay. So now I'm seeing long, shiny hair. Okay. And then after you say that, acknowledge that, the next thing pops in and you start to build this trail of communication that starts to make sense. But
Okay.
if I didn't say that weird bar of soap, if I didn't say that weird burrito, it wouldn't have continued to build upon that trail. So it's just important to acknowledge those weird little things. You're like, I have a little tingle right here. Oh, I feel like something's in my throat. I feel like I have heartburn. Oh, it feels like I have gas. Oh, I feel like this. Like it could,
Anything.
so many things you could feel. And we're just acknowledging it. You could either say it out loud, you could either think it, you could write it down. But we're just following those breadcrumbs. And that's kind of just part of the process of getting past thinking, feeling, saying weird things. Because that's the whole business of this, is saying weird stuff that's kind of kooky.
Right.
So getting comfortable with that is important. Let's see, what else? What other things? Yeah, I feel like experimenting and going outside the box is going to be one of the most important challenges that you do.
Okay.
Is really stepping outside the box.
Okay.
Yeah, and just like if you're the type of person that likes to make little challenges for themselves of like, this week I'm going to do this, and like play a game with yourself, that would be helpful. Or you can, if you like being just off the cuff, maybe you're rebellious, you'd be like, this is what I normally do, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something different. So finding a way to make it fun that you're going against what you normally do
Okay.
would be helpful.
Okay.